I talked about MC Hammer Mama on my first album. I said, MC Hammer, his mama.
Why go with his mom?
I don't know. I thought I was the shit, you know? MC Hammer was large, man. He was a large commodity in hip hop. Like, I was just like, yo, that I gotta go at him. And I wasn't going at him like, you know what, you Hammer. I was just having fun. But now that I look at it, it was like, yo, listen, I did say his mama. I was like, ooh, I wouldn't say that now. And when all that came in the ingredient, then it was like no turning back. Like, this is full on beef. So yeah, he definitely checked me as big bro, because he was definitely older than me, but he checked me as like young bro, and he gave me the advice.
In person?
Yeah, in person. Like, I was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because MC Hammer don't play. Like I said that in the interview. He don't play no games.
MC Hammer, very serious about beef. Y'all motherfuckers laugh and y'all joke about Hammer. No. That was deep with me. And he used to, what anybody who talks come to the Bay Area, they was in for it. Because we seen it. I seen it. And he was very serious about beef. Oh, you gonna talk about my dancing pants? I see you. And he will whoop it out.
And he definitely gave me the big bro check. And from then on, I never talked about nobody else. Like, never. I was like, yeah, because it was full on. It was like we could have got caught slipping. Almost got caught slipping too. Like, so it was serious.
MC Hammer don't play. And believe me, you not. If they would have came back in LA and that word was crossed, they probably would have got touched. It was serious. Yo, y'all gotta do the knowledge on Hammer, man. Yo, even when I said about Hammer, I said, listen to my first album. When I did the skit, and I was like, you know what? That goddamn MC Hammer, him, his mama, and the whole nine. That came up to me on MTV Cribs on the last episode they had where everybody out on, not MTV.
Yo MTV Raps.
Yeah, Yo MTV Raps. With the last episode they shot when they had everybody rapping on it, MC Hammer was there. That approached me. He was like, Red, I'm gonna tell you something, you young, but I don't allow nobody talking about my mama. You understand me? I said, yes, sir. Because yo, we was already in Oakland with EPMD, and we damn near had to bounce up out of there for that. Cause they had back here. We had to get the out of here. They wasn't playing. We was almost boxed in. And I'm at a young age too. I'm like, yo, this is not playing. And he seen me at MTV Cribs. He shook my hand. He was like, you're a youngin'. I like what you do, but you just know I don't play nobody talking about my mama. And I was like, you right, man. Now, I was cool. I wasn't no pussy, you know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, man, you know what I mean? But I was like, yes, sir, MC Hammer. In other words, I got the message. I heard about you, and I seen your work, and with the 357 and all them motherfuckers could do. I seen that shit. I'm good, my brother, because I got to come to the West Coast and get money. I like it out there. I like the Bay Area. So, yeah, that. You right. I won't talk about your mama, but.
Wait, you say the 357, you're talking about Oaktown?
Yeah, the Oaktown girls, all of them.
The three?
All of
the three
them.
girls?
All of them was out there. The girls, the women, everyone. The men, everyone. Everyone rolled. It wasn't just out there. Just was ready to mash any that we had or any other crew had. Any y'all came with, they getting mashed out too. Serious. It was serious with Hammer. Crazy. It was, yo, you
I know. I've interviewed MC Hammer before.
Ask around. It ain't just me talking shit. And I'm a real nigga. And I don't brag on other niggas, but I say that about Hammer because he did so much for rap, even though people didn't consider him as an MC. But regardless, he's a black man that helped carry the culture over, and he did it big. And he's a guy that believed in anything that he gonna do that shit big. That's just what it is. Whether it's gonna be music or you gonna talk about me, we gonna fight. This is my crew, 100 motherfuckers. So I gotta respect that man. I always respected him. That's why I talked about him on my album, because I respected him. Like, he's so large, I gotta get at him.
You know, Hammer was a big dog, man. He got respect in the streets. He came from a respected crew, and they handled business, him and his brother Lewis and the crew. And, you know, when we saw each other, it was respect and love. And then, you know, when we weren't around each other, he'd take little jabs and talk shit, but it was that type of shit. If somebody was making Hammer uncomfortable, without him saying I'm uncomfortable, somebody around him would have came to you and said, quit making Hammer uncomfortable.
Right.
It would have been like a no negotiable statement.
Pete said the line that really pissed Hammer off about, Cactus turned Hammer's mother out. And that was the one that really took Hammer over the edge. But the whole genesis of it for me was twofold. One, he wouldn't battle me, which is petty, but I was, 19 years old. So in my mentality and how we looked at how we dealt with things in hip hop, you battle. That's not his culture. It's not where he comes from. And even if it is, what does he have to prove to me? And the president of Def Jam at the time was a woman named Carmen Ashurst Watson. She gets a call just as we get on the plane. They identified that the call was from Hammer's brother, Louis Burrell. I can't prove that or not prove that, but that's what it came down to. Whoever was on the phone said, hey, is Third Base still coming to LA? And she said, yes. And the voice said, good, they're dead, and hung up the phone. So Carmen, being the sensible person, doesn't just be like, oh, whatever, calls Russell and says, hey, I think we might have a problem with Third Base in Los Angeles. I think I just got a death threat. So Lior had a dude who worked with him from Los Angeles named Big D. And Big D was also the day-to-day security for Run DMC. So Lior calls Big D, and Big D says, well, the person we need to call is Eric B. Eric B will know. Eric B calls Russell and goes, yeah, it's true. There's a hit. Rolling 60 Crips, 30,000 members, $50,000.
I wouldn't agree to that, but I would say without spending any money, Hammer could have told some people to f him the f up. Like that wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have, I know who Hammer was affiliated with, and he wouldn't have to pay to tell somebody to f somebody up.
So Russell says to Eric B, well, how do we stop this? And Eric says, nah, you should just let it happen, and hangs up the phone. Russell, in some way, shape, or form, gets in touch with Mike Conception, and Mike confirms what's going on. But Mike says that he can control it and that they shouldn't worry because the only thing that'll happen is they'll just break our legs, but we'll still be able to do TV from the waist up. And Russell says, well, listen, how do we protect them completely? And Mike says, well, I need two things. He goes, first of all, I got this record called We're All in the Same Gang, and I need some help kind of figuring out a label situation, so if you could help me with that. But the second thing is, tonight's the American Music Awards, and I want to sit next to Michael Jackson. Russell called Donnie Einer, who was the chairman of CBS, and said, I need your tickets for the American Music Awards. I got a guy who needs to sit next to Michael Jackson.
If you just take away the pants and the dancing and just focused on the people that wasn't on stage, like when the crew walk up, don't look at the dancers, look at the other dudes. You would have figured that shit out.
Okay, so we had a dancer called Fendi. Fendi was a good dancer. He's from Far Rockaway, right? So he was all over the stage. Hammer comes out the speakers and rises, so you want to be like, stay off the speakers. You know what I'm saying? Hammer's people told
stay off the speaker.
EPMD's dancers, stay off the speaker. Right? So we on tour, whatever like that, and that and this. But when you in the crowd's hype, you get amped. So maybe in my dancer's mind, he remembered, but he probably didn't remember it.
Right.
So that one night, Vanilla Ice opens up. Matter of fact, Vanilla Ice wanted to go on tour and dance with Fendi, be on tour with EPMD. It's crazy. But he, that night, got on the speaker.
Wow.
Dancing. So we get off the stage. I think it was Hammer's brother came and was barking at Fendi. So we hear yelling, we see the dancer going back and forth. So Paris comes over, hears it, and then boom, busts his glasses, everything.
The brother?
Yes, all of it, just all of it. So once he hit him, we see a whole sea of people. Can you imagine? Hammer got 30 on stage anyway.
Yeah, that's what he was known for, yeah.
So the people start coming, and there was police officers. I can't make this up. So after a while, we ended up moving towards the wrong way. So now we in this corridor where you go backstage to change.
And you're being cornered?
And now it's me, Solo, Alvin, God Bless the Dead, and some other person against all these people. And we're like, oh, and one of the guys was like, yo, I want him, the chubby one. So I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, oh, So now I get into a karate stance. I don't know no kung fu.
One show I remember back in the days with Hammer. Yeah. It was KMEL, Summer Jam, or whatever the it was, and yo, his entourage was something like I never seen in my life. Like it was literally
100 people.
More than 100 people, probably.
That's
Like,
actually how he. That's actually
but it
how
was
he,
girls,
yeah.
guys, gangsters, dancers,
Everybody.
everybody.
No, listen.
Like,
I grew up in the Bay. Hammer.
We will fight for Hammer.
Hyenas.
Hyenas. We will fight. This is the Game of Thrones.
Eagles. Fish.
King Hammer. Yes. Thou must fight for thy honor. Do the typewriter.
Yo, but see what it represented to me at the time is this is able to pay all these people.
Dude, that's crazy.
And still have
That's
paper.
how he ended up going broke.
Yeah.
I know, but at the time it looked like this was never gonna stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, growing up in the Bay, Hammer was like our hero. It was like, wow, here's someone. It was the first, like, it was funny because people were calling him a sellout and stuff like that because he was doing like Kentucky Fried Chicken commercials,
with
and
the popcorn chicken.
Pepsi commercials,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Or he had his own sneaker. He had like BKs, British Knights, or whatever.
Yeah.
Are you a sellout? Now everyone strives to do what Hammer did back in the 80s.
Yeah. Because it was
just
something
not-
new.
but
It was
see, he
something
did
different.
He had his
But-
own cartoon.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Right,
I
but,
watched the
the
Hammer
way
cartoon.
he
Yeah.
did it was corny. You see, so everybody now they want to do what he did, but they want to try to do it in a more cool way, in a way that's more cool and where you still.
But he still was
you
the
can
prototype.
still retain.
Still the
You
prototype.
can retain your cool though. But see, by the time it was corny, and then by the time he want to be alive, and we get the pump to the bump.
But though, but after the Redman interview, I go right on Hammer because they said he is that real, and it was like loaded with the